Hi, Ms. Fry, it's Hector. Today I will be doing the final for you, and I chose the poem Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the rain. We passed the fields of grazing grain, we passed the setting sun. Or rather, he passed us. The dews grew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown. My tippet only tool, we paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice but a mound. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet each feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horse's head, we veer toward eternity. All right, to start off, I'll talk about the message, speaker, and audience. The message in the poem is that we're not always able to prepare for death, and that we should embrace it instead of fearing it. The speaker is a dead woman, and you can see that in line 15 when she talks about she's in her gossamer gown. The audience is directed towards people who are afraid of death and see that it's only a bad thing instead of a good thing. Next, the tone is calm, and you can see it when she mentions that the death has no haste and that he slowly drove the carriage. These both show that he's not really in a hurry, and neither of them are trying to get to where they're going really fast. The mood is that even though she died, she is accepting it, but she wasn't really ready. The atmosphere it gives off the feeling of a day going towards the end. For when she says there's a setting sun, and the atmosphere is also taking place in the afterlife, for when she says eternity and immortality. Rhetorical devices that she used was repetition. She used repetition in stanza 2 when she kept repeating, we passed. As in, this sort of gives off the feeling that the day is passing by and they're just going on and on. Excuse me. There is a paradox in lines 21 to 23. She also uses alliteration when she says recess and ring and gossamer and gown. The whole poem overall is an extended metaphor, and because it relates it to how it would feel to be dead in the afterlife. There's also another metaphor describing the house, which is described as a grave. She also uses personification when she describes death, because she says that he has no haste, he slowly drove, and he has civility, and how he pulled up to her very kindly. Emily Dickinson also uses personification when she describes the dew. She says that the dew is quivering and chill, as if making it alive. The poem is a lyric poem, and in each stanza, in lines 1 and line 3, there is 8 syllables in each line, making it an iambic tetrameter. In lines 2 and 4, there is an iambic trimeter. Other ways to interpret the poem is that it could be religious. He could be seen as God. Or immortality can be taken as how there's life after death, even in heaven. Different meanings for different lines that relate to the message is that in line 1 it says she's not ready for death. Line 3, she talks about the carriage as if it is the vehicle that takes people to the afterlife or heaven. Lines 15 and 16 is where she was buried, and that's how that can say that she's dead. Lines 14 talks about the quivering and chill, and it can give the implication that she's cold in her grave. Lines 17 and 18 describe the grave, as I said. Lines 23 and 24 she had realized that she was dead, and she was slowly accepting it and going on with her death. Overall, the poem, in the last poem, you can really see that she hadn't necessarily realized that she died and how she wasn't ready. She uses capital letters throughout the poem, making it seem like everything she's saying is important, and it's seen that death, or it can be taken as death being her suitor, and yeah, that's all.